Today we're going to be talking about why Earth is a habitable planet. First, we're going to be talking about what we need to make Earth habitable. Here's a list of 8 reasons why. First, we need liquid water. It's not only for us to be hydrated, but it can react with anything and is a big part of photosynthesis, which is a major energy source. Next, we have oxygen. Oxygen allows life forms like animals to flourish and is produced through photosynthesis. Next, we have CO2. In order for photosynthesis to carry out, there needs to be a sufficient amount of CO2 in the air for us to breathe. Next, we have sunlight. Sunlight radiates light and heat or solar energy. Without the sunlight, Earth would freeze. So sunlight is important to keep us warm and life on Earth. Next, we have solar wind protection, also known as the magnetic field, which we'll talk about in a few slides. Without the solar wind protection, solar winds would strip the planet's atmosphere and oceans. Next, we have sunray protection. Sunray protection is for humans because we need the UV radiation for vitamin D, and Earth protects us with the ozone layer, which only allows a portion of the UV light. So to make sure that Earth does not melt completely due to the UV radiation. Next, we have the atmosphere. The atmosphere contains oxygen we need and protects us from the UV solar radiation and keeps temps sustainable. Lastly, we have soil. Soil allows plants to grow, and it also gives us the rock cycle. Now we're going to talk about what makes Earth habitable. First, we're going to talk about mass, position from the sun, and magnetic field. First, we're going to talk about mass and how it affects Earth being a habitable planet. Mass gives gravitational pull on gas molecules. The more mass the planet has, the more atmosphere it contains and temperatures will become out of control. The less mass the planet has, there is not enough atmosphere or oxygen to sustain life. So Earth has a mass of 1, so anything less will not have a whole lot of oxygen for life, so it cannot be habitable. And anything above 1 can have too much atmosphere and too much pressure, making it to where temperatures are out of control and life can still not be sustainable. Next, we're going to talk about position from the sun and how that affects us being a habitable planet. We must be close enough to the sun that we are warm and so that our water is still liquid. But we can't be too far back or else it'll be frozen. So what planets are too cold? Two cold planets would be Mars through Neptune, making Neptune one of the coldest planets because it's farther away from the sun. What planets are too hot? Mercury and Venus are going to be your hotter planets because they are the closest to the sun. Earth is right in between Venus and Mars, so therefore making it at a right temperature where it's not too cold, not too hot. Lastly, we're going to talk about the magnetic field. The magnetic field protects Earth from solar winds, and without it, we would be exposed to high amounts of radiation from the sun, and our atmosphere would be free to leak into space. So in the picture above, you can see the sun and the UV rays coming from it, and then you see Earth with the blue rays around it. That's our magnetic field that keeps the UV rays coming in, but not enough to where they will cause harm to our Earth. So that wraps up why Earth is a habitable planet. Due to mass position from the sun